This is an idea that was developed a few months ago by Vasyl Makhno and I. We were chewing the fat, and then one of us said, why don't we do something about Shevchenko? 200th year anniversary of his birth is approaching relatively soon, and what better place to do it than at the Bowery Poetry Club? We approached Bob Holman, he was excited, and here we are. For those of you who know Taras Shevchenko, you will of course know that he's considered to be the Ukrainian equivalent of Walt Whitman or Adam Mickiewicz or Alexander Pushkin, arguably the Shakespeare of Ukrainian literature, identity, and culture. If you don't know that, now you do. You will also possibly know that Shevchenko was born yesterday on March 9th in 1814, and he died today in 1861. So this is very appropriate time to be celebrating his work. We're delighted to be able to do this for you. I think we have a very exciting program. So one of the things that you will find in the poetry that we will be reading, most of it will be in English. Some 5 poems will be read in Ukrainian, so as to give you a sense of what it sounds like in the original. You will notice that many of the poems are deeply felt laments. They concern sorrow, they concern loss, they concern anger, they concern all those sorts of things that poets the world over are concerned with. In any case, more than enough for me for today. Before we proceed, a word from the host and the owner of this lovely venue, Bob Holman. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex. Listen, I hope you all got a good glimpse of the extraordinary multimedia presentation as you came into the house here tonight. What you're seeing is parked on the street a poem-mobile, a project of City Lore and Bowery Arts and Science. Bowery Arts and Science is the nonprofit that does all of the programming here at the Bowery Poetry Club. And if you'll check around, there's a line of Shevchenkos there. Now, I don't know, but Verlana Tkach tells me that there is it's one word is misspelt. So if you can find which word is misspelt, then Tom Burchard has promised you a free drink over at Veselka's Bowery tonight. But the purpose of the Poemobile, of course, is to bring poetry to the people and to project poems, to create a kind of transient graffiti so that the architecture of New York can change from brick and mortar into poetry. So tonight we're very happy to have the bilingual Ukrainian and English. You know, I'm doing a lot of work these days with endangered languages, and you know, Ukrainian is not an endangered language yet. But what I'm noticing here on the Lower East Side is that there's nobody who is really, while there is a Ukrainian school, there's nobody that is really spearheading speaking Ukrainian at home. And I think that the way to keep languages from dying is to make sure that the mother tongue is spoken by the mother and the father and passed on to the next generation. Something that does not ever hinder assimilation. Believe me, kids are going to pick up English in this city, in this country. But if you pick up your mother tongue, your life will be enriched, your job opportunities will be increased, and you'll be doing your part to maintain the ecology of consciousness. Okay? So all the languages work together. Before you were here tonight, we heard some great singing of the work of Miriam Makeba, the South African, in Shona, a click language, and now we're going to get some Ukrainian. So that's the word here from the Endangered Language Police. Speak Ukrainian! Eat at Veselka's! And listen to Shevchenko.
Okay. Just let me introduce briefly the readers, the translators you'll find out in the course of the evening. We have Vasyl Makhno, George Grabovich, Svetlana Makhno, Bob Holman, of course, Roman Turovsky, Peter Fendinsky, and on the bandura we have Julian Katasta, whom you all know. So, without further ado, first poem, Minayut dni, minayut nochi. Days go by and nights go by.
Спати і спати на волі, і заснути на вік віки, і сліду не кинуть. Ніяко. Однако, чи жив, чи загинув. Доле, де ти? Доле, де ти? Нема ніякої. Коли доброї жаль Боже, то дай злої, злої.
When summers end, leaves turn yellow, leaves turn dry. My eyes are dead, my thoughts are asleep, my heart doesn't beat.
Are passing,
And all
summer
things.
passes. Yellowed leaves rustle, sight dims, and thought, grown drowsy, is slumbering. Heart falls asleep. All is asleep. I don't know whether I live or fade or go tramping the world on empty paths. For now I neither weep.
By Peter Fedinsky.
The wind blows gently, dancing o'er the field. The kobzar sits atop a mound, strumming on his kobza. Around him spreads the steppe. It's like a sea of boundless blue. Beyond that mound are still more mounds. The others, though, are hazy. His long gray whiskers and old tuft disheveled by the wind.
Sun sets and hills grow dark. As the bird song ends and fields fall silent. As the people laugh and take their rest. I watch. My heart hurries to the twilit gardens of Ukraine. And I hurry. Oh, how I hurry with my thoughts as my heart yearns for rest. As the fields grow dark, blind minstrels traversing the country, especially in Shevchenko's Ukraine, let me restate that, of blind minstrels traversing the country and playing on the bandura or the kobza. What we have now, we're going to hear from Julian Katasti. He'll be playing a historical medley of songs. Let me start with the first line. On a grave mound in the field, a Cossack lies unburied.
With his head on a clod of earth, and the soft steppe grass covering his eyes. Лежить козак там убитий, лежить козак там убитий.
Де люди плачуть живучи, то ви б елегій не творили, та марне Бога б не хвалили на наші сльози сміючись. За що, не знаю, називають хатину в гаї тихим раєм? Я в хаті мучився колись, мої там сльози.
Пішов би додому, там би мене привітали, зраділи б старому. Там би я спочив хоч мало, помолившись Богу, там би я, та шкода й гадки, не буде нічого. Як же його у неволі жити без надії? Навчіть мене, люди добрі, а то вдарі.
Won't the good Lord let me, in my old age, be free? I'd go back to Ukraine. I'd go back home. There they'd greet me, glad to see the old man. There I'd rest. I'd pray to God. There I'd But why go on? There will be nothing. How am I to live in slavery with no hope? Do tell me, please.
Lovingly and quietly went and stole that axe. He headed off for kindling to the verdant oakwood forest. He picked a tree and whack! Then the axe escaped his grasp, mowing all throughout the forest. It was scary. It was sorry to behold. Ancient oaks and sundry trees all laid down in rows, and from the valley comes a fire. A cloud of smoke obscures the sun, and from the Urals to the Tingis to the Aral, water boiled in the lakes, villages and towns ablaze, people crying, creatures moaning, hiding past the Tobol in snows of cold Siberia. For 7 years, God's axe cut down the verdant forest. The inferno did not cease. God's world grew dim amid the smoke. On the 8th year, on a summer Sunday, the sacred sun came out like a doll in bright white lace. All alone, beside a valley on a roadside, in the steppe stands one tall and single tree, abandoned there by God, abandoned by the axe, not burned by any flames. It whispers to the valley about that bygone hour.
The very end, all what is needed
don't go past
and what's not. For at this pace, this sacred writ will never come from anyone, and no one's there for me to voice the holy truth. Although it's certainly high time. 10 years have passed since I first gave them my kobzar, and they're all silent like the grave. No jibes, no censure, nothing. You'd think I never even lived. It's not the praise I need, dear friends. That's something I can do without. It's counsel that I need. And yet I'll sooner get a posting to my grave from Russia's army. Dear God, at times my heart would strain to catch a word of wisdom, so I'd know. Why do I write? For what? Why do I love Ukraine? Does she deserve this holy fire? For though I'm getting old, I still don't know what I'm about. So as not to waste God's holy time, I write. And sometimes sinfully I dream of Cossacks riding jet black horses. And that is all I know. And that's why I'm forsaken in this land. Did fate decree this? Did my mother not pray to God before my birth? For now, a trampled viper in the steppe, I writhe and wait for sunset and for death to free me from this desert. And why? By God, I don't know why. And yet I love her still, my vast Ukraine, although I wandered her alone, for as you see, I found no mate, and blundered to my doom. Forget about it, friend, make do. Encase yourself in steel, and pray to God as you were taught. And all those friends, they're not worth spit. What do you expect from cabbage heads? But then, who knows, compadre? You're no fool. Go work it out yourself.